Zion Williamson has captured the attention of the NBA world with his dominant scoring and highlight reel dunks.
He was on that downhill run. He restarted and then...
At just 22 years old, Zion is considered the future of the NBA. However, injuries have plagued the young superstar his entire career, and it might just be because of the way that he plays. So let's take a look at whether or not Zion Williamson's game is bad for his health. Who is Zion? Well, he was born in Salisbury, North Carolina. Zion Williamson is one of the best young talents in the NBA. Prior to being selected number 1 overall by the New Orleans Pelicans in 2019, Zion played for the Duke Blue Devils. But even before that, Zion was a household name because of his viral high school videos. He utterly dominated his competition as a teenager, which had many people comparing him to a young LeBron James. In fact, Zion was the most hyped NBA prospect since King James. As a kid, he played soccer and football along with basketball, but at just 5 years old, he set his sights on becoming a professional basketball player. When he turned 9, Zion started a basketball curriculum, which included waking up at 5 a.m. to train. Along with this type of hard work and discipline, Zion was blessed with out-of-this-world athleticism and explosiveness. But the very thing that has made him look unstoppable at times might end up holding him back from reaching his full potential. Recent gameplay and injury. During his rookie year, Zion missed the first 24 games of the season because of a torn meniscus. However, the wait was well worth it as he provided NBA fans with one of the best debuts of all time as he caught fire and scored 17 straight points.
Zion for 4 Welcome to the NBA!
But it was really in his sophomore year that Zion showed his superstar potential, which had many people labeling him a future MVP. In his sophomore year, Zion played 61 games and was the first player in NBA history to score as many as 27 points per game while shooting at least 60% from the field. Along with this, he averaged 3.7 assists per game and 7.2 rebounds. At just 20 years old, Zion was living up to all the hype. While in the 2022-2023 season, Zion has averaged 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 4.6 assists in 29 games, and has been an integral part of the Pelicans' success. In fact, he helped the Pelicans reach the number 1 spot in the Western Conference for some time. This included a career high of 43 points and a week stretch in which he averaged 33 points and 8.3 rebounds on 70.4% shooting from the field. However, on January 2nd of that new year, Zion ended up straining his hamstring, which is supposed to cost him a month of action. But of course, this isn't Zion's first injury. As many of you may have noticed, we skipped out on Zion's 3rd year because, well, he didn't play a single game that season. But let's take a deeper look at Zion's injury history, which goes all the way back to his high school days. So you can be the most talented player of all time, but if you don't have health on your side, all the talent can end up going to waste. We have seen plenty of these examples in the NBA as superstars like Derrick Rose, Grant Hill, and Penny Hardaway had their potential cut short due to various injuries and bad luck. And unfortunately for us basketball fans, Zion is dangerously close to being added to this infamous list. His injury history began back in his high school days with his knee bruise in April 2017 that caused him to miss a few months of AAU ball. But after recovering from that in his senior year, he had another concerning injury. This time it was a foot injury, and big men in the NBA have notoriously struggled with foot injuries, the most famous example being Yao Ming. But still, Zion made full recovery and was recruited by Duke to play his college year at the well-respected basketball program. However, in February of that year, an unfortunate accident where Zion's foot ripped through his Nike shoe ended up causing him a knee sprain, and he missed almost a month of action again. Now, despite the lingering injury concerns, Zion was still selected the number 1 overall by the Pelicans. However, the injury bug would strike Zion early as he tore his meniscus before the season even began. And prior to his 3rd year in the league, Zion suffered his most serious injury in the offseason. He was diagnosed with a Jones fracture in his right foot, which required surgery. Although there was hope that Zion would recover quickly enough to play his 3rd year, Pelicans decided to shut him down for the season because of the slow healing process and Zion's prior injury history. And now again, as Zion was playing with some of the best basketball of his career, injuries have come to derail his momentum. This time, it's a right hamstring strain. So the natural question that arises is, why exactly has Zion been so injury prone his entire basketball career? Of course, there is some bad luck involved, like the shoe ripping, but most of it has to do with his size, athleticism, and freakish explosiveness. Playing style concerns. In 2021, Zion had a scoring stretch of 25 games in a row where he scored at least 20 points while shooting 50% from the floor. The only other player to have a stretch like that in NBA history was Shaquille O'Neal. And a big reason why Zion can dominate is because of his incredible athleticism, body control, and dangerous second jump. These abilities allow Zion, who is 6'6" and weighs around 280 pounds, to do what a 7'1", 325-pound Shaq used to do. Now also, these are the very same abilities that have been hurting Zion. His frame and build are that of an offensive NFL lineman, but his basketball game is graceful and unique. Strength is a big part of Zion's game. His explosiveness to the basket and the impossibly fast first step are almost unguardable. This combination allows him to beat his opponents but also cause him to have foot, hamstring, and knee injuries. Simply put, his body can't keep up with his explosiveness and athleticism. This has been the case for other NBA greats, most notably Derrick Rose, who suffered a devastating knee injury that changed the trajectory of his career. On top of that, weight management seems to be a big issue for Zion. One of his former teammates, JJ Redick, had the following to say about Zion's weight issue. "Zion has to be in better shape," Redick said. "That's not a secret. And he's got to get healthy. And I think if Zion's out on the court with Brandon Ingram and the young nucleus they have, there's a lot to be excited about if I was a Pelicans fan." Now, this is so concerning that the Pelicans included a weight clause in Zion's $200+ million contract. The weight clause states that Zion has to be at a combined weight plus body fat percentage of 295 pounds. But it's not for certain that these injuries will continue, as there are famous examples of NBA players who started their careers injury prone, and as they matured into their bodies and learned how to take care of themselves, the injury concerns dissipated. So what his future holds? Zion isn't the first superstar to deal with adversity early in his career. Famously, both Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid missed their rookie seasons due to injuries. Embiid would go on to miss his sophomore season as well. However, Embiid added strength and muscle mass to his frame and learned proper falling mechanics to limit the chances of injury in the future. Steph Curry is another famous example of someone who had a ton of ankle injuries early on in his career. In order to fix that issue, Curry also learned how to fall down properly and strengthened his ankle muscles and tendons and took the proper precautions to limit future damage. There are many other examples as well, so the blueprint is there for someone like Zion. One starting point is weight management, which the Pelicans seem to be on top of. Zion himself has spoken about maturing and getting proper nutrition, so the issue can be resolved. Zion can also learn how to land properly, as Derrick Rose had to. He can also play more contained, so he isn't relying too much on his athleticism. This might mean developing a three-point shot, so he doesn't have to constantly bang bodies with bigs in the paint. The other part of the equation is just simple: dumb luck. But one way to get luck on your side is to check all those other boxes. So there are ways for Zion to tinker with his current game in order to reduce the possibility of future injuries. And hopefully, as basketball fans, Zion can figure out his magic formula and stay as healthy, as he is one of the most entertaining guys to watch. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell beside it so that you're notified the next time we upload a new video. And with that being said, you just watched us break down whether or not Zion Williamson's game is bad for his health. See you next time.